The last thing people want to do after being arrested, taken to jail, and charged with crimes is relive that event. They don't want to think about it anymore. They want to put it out of sight, out of mind. They want to get back to some sort of sense of normalcy. That's totally understandable and a good thing to do, and we encourage that, and we've got a lot of advice on how to do that. But it is very important to take a few minutes, an hour, however long it takes, to sit down and write your own version of what happened. So you have to remember, the police, they're going to write a police report. Every officer who was involved is going to write a report, or most of them will. The significant officers who were involved will write reports. They will get witness statements. If there was a victim in the case, they're going to get a statement from them as well. So it's important that you sit down and you write your own version of the reports. This can be very helpful to you in your case later. It can be very helpful to your defense attorney if you decide to hire us or anyone else. And so we encourage people to take a few minutes and sit down and think through some of these things. When people come in to have a consultation with us, we get their permission. We make sure that we're able to take notes on everything for them. But if you have not done that, if you have not had the time to come into our office and meet with us, I want you to think about a couple different things. Think of it as writing a story or writing a letter to a friend. Think of it as a Dear John letter or something like that, where you are sitting down and you're detailing exactly what happened to you from beginning to end. That's really the simplest way that we describe it to people. We want you to go through the whole event and write everything down. So from start to finish, you want to make sure that every single thing that happened, everything you can remember, just start dumping that into a sheet of paper on a computer somewhere where it's going to be saved and safe. The reason why it's important to get it down immediately is because this case can last, most criminal cases last somewhere between 3 to 6 months if it's a misdemeanor, and significantly longer if it's a felony case. And so we want to get that documented and down because memories can fade and people can forget things. A couple other things that are very important to detail and we want to pay attention to. One, your interaction with the police. What did the police say to you? What questions were they asking of you? This helps your defense attorney get an idea into what they were investigating and how they were investigating it. This gives us an idea of where to start our own investigation. Are we going to be requesting certain evidentiary hearings? Are we going to be challenging things like Miranda violations or in custody or illegal searches or anything like that? We want to start getting an idea of that. So we want you to tell us what the police said to you, what they were asking, what did they do? Because a lot of that is not going to be in their report. It's very interesting. When we get these reports back from people, it almost never matches anything that the police report says. They're two very different versions of the same facts. Two different stories about the same set of facts. And so your version is going to be very different than theirs. That's why we want to get it documented. Okay? The other thing we want to know about are witnesses. Were there other people around? Oftentimes what we see is police will write a report, but they won't include certain witnesses. People will be missing. But we talk to our clients and they'll say, no, the business owner who owns that hair salon or whatever was there. We saw him standing there. He witnessed the whole thing. Well, that wasn't in the report. So if we go and talk to that person, that may open the door. That may say, well, what the police said in their report wasn't actually accurate. So it's important that you document that as well. There may be people who end up in both our report and the officer's report. We want to know that. We want to know what the full global idea is of what actually happened so we can start gathering facts. Another very important thing that we see that people often overlook is you want to start saving evidence. And what I mean by that is you want to start saving text messages. You want to start saving video recordings, audio recordings, receipts, any communications that you have, security camera footage. All of these things, you want to start saving that right now. If you're talking about an establishment like a bar or a restaurant or something that may have video recordings, a lot of those places will delete their footage after a certain period of time. Some are as short as 24 hours. So you want to make sure that you're getting that stuff quickly because it may be gone otherwise. If people hire us within time, one of the first things that we do is go on record and say that we want all of that material. If it is with an establishment or a third party, we go out there quickly and we say we want this material. Please save it. If they're not going to give it to us, we say we are asking that you save it until we can go get a subpoena from the court to go and get it. But oftentimes what will happen is an incident will happen, they'll be charged with a crime, there'll be a domestic dispute with somebody, and there'll be text messages that go back and forth. They will wait, they will come see us after 3 months after they've been trying to work this thing out on their own. They realize they can't do it, they need some help, they come see us, then at that point in time, they've got a new cell phone, or those text messages were deleted, or there's a lot of material that we can no longer use, it's no longer available to us because it's been expired, it's gone, it's no longer accessible. So you want to consider that. When you're writing your report, start documenting some of those things. What was available? What receipts do I have? When did this happen? Look at time and dates. Look at text messages and voicemails and all these phone calls and different things, and start writing that down and start saving them. And don't just save them to your cell phone. Back that stuff up to the cloud, because somebody will inevitably drop their phone in a toilet or something. It happens. So you just want to make sure that this stuff is saved and backed up. The other thing that I tell people is important is I want to get your gut reactions as to how this all felt. What actually happened? You're not a legal expert, of course. That's why you're watching this video. Maybe you are a legal expert. I don't know who watches these things. But it may be something that you want to start recording how you feel about certain things. You have watched movies where there's Miranda violations. You have heard things about illegal searches and seizures. What didn't feel right? What felt coercive? What felt like it wasn't just kosher, it wasn't above board, the police were doing something improper, they were pushing things in the wrong way, something bad was happening. Use your gut to kind of tell us what you feel about how this whole situation worked. Some of it may be relevant, most of it may not be relevant, but it's still important. It gives us some guidance. You have to understand your attorney, your investigator, your public defender, anybody who's going to be helping you on this case was probably not there with you. And so they don't have an understanding of what actually happened from your perspective. So you want to document all of these different things, write it down, save it. This is just a very, very brief overview of some of the questions that you should start considering. In reality, our office, we have a very, very robust list of questions that when we go through an onboarding process, so when somebody hires our office and hires our team to help them out, we then will detail all of this stuff in much greater, much more extensive format. We have a reference guide here, and my partner Ryan made another video about some of this stuff, and it's a lot of these questions. So this is something that we just kind of crammed as much as we could into one sheet, but this shows you kind of how important this one section is. Important initial questions. And if you want a copy of one of these, schedule a case evaluation with us. We will give you one of them. But it is important you at least take some time to consider writing a report. We know it's not easy. We know you want to put this whole situation behind you. But do yourself a favor. Sit down. Spend a few minutes to do one of these things. If you need somebody else to help take notes on a lot of this, we're happy to do it. Schedule a case evaluation with us. Come in. A member of my team or myself will meet with you. We'll go through the most important questions. We know where to probe, and I start identifying other things that you may forget. So it's very valuable, and we'll give you a copy of our notes if you want them at the end of the case. That way you have it for your record. But come and see us. We help a lot of people through these situations. We'll also give you some thoughts on how to get back to normal. In most cases, you've been through kind of the worst part of these things. If it's a misdemeanor or a DUI and you were poked and prodded and you had blood taken from you and all of these different things, things will settle down a little bit. You just need to get through this really traumatic and kind of chaotic part of the case, and then we'll help you get back on your feet. So keep that in mind. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any other questions, if you have any comments at all, please feel free to shoot us a message, give us a call. We'll get you scheduled. We'll help you start putting this thing away. Thanks for watching.